All right, clap it up, y'all. This is episode 7. Episode 7, period. You know, I'm Loren LoRosa. This is the latest with Loren LoRosa, and I'm the homegirl that knows a little bit about everything and everybody. And today, I am bringing you guys an exclusive. And this is our first exclusive on the podcast. Shout out to us. We need like a dun dun, like a yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because like it's real. We are bringing the first exclusive here. So there's been a lot of conversation around Wendy Williams. There was a ton of conversation around Wendy and if she would be within the last couple of weeks, if she would be taking a new capacity test or a cognitive test. Now, I broke the exclusive that Wendy, after being transported to a hospital here in New York, from where she stays at, which is the Coterie, it's like she calls it a luxury. Wendy calls it a luxury prison, but it's like it's like a elder living space, where she is on lockdown. The floor that she is in is on lockdown. So when she was taken to the hospital, she did a cognitive test where they asked her things like, "Who's the president today? What day of the week is it? What's your name?" Those type of things, and make sure that like things are just tracking for you. And an exclusive that I broke then, I told you guys that Wendy actually had passed that 10 out of 10. So 10 questions asked, 10 questions answered, 10 questions asked, 10 questions answered and passed. Right? And we released that story now. From what I'm being told, there's a not even what I'm being told. From what I've been reporting, the conservator Sabrina Morrissey and the judge who is over top of Wendy Williams' conservatorship have sat down and had a conversation and said, look, if Wendy is as miserable as she's saying, if she is as capable of making these decisions on her own as she is claiming, we want to make sure that we honor that according to the judge and according to the conservator. Now, Wendy doesn't feel like that. Wendy feels like she's being taken advantage of right now. She's had some pretty like stark, harsh claims. And that's why a judge is like, come back. Come sit at this table. Let's have this conversation. Let's figure it out. And having that conversation, the judge determined that it was necessary for Wendy to take another cognitive testing, or a capacity test, or a test for, how well is she able to make decisions, but also testing to determine whether there's frontal temporal dementia or not. This was also suggested before a judge said, yeah, we should do this. Sabrina Morrissey, who is currently Wendy Williams' conservator, had actually wrote a letter to the judge saying, look, I'm being dragged through the mud. She's claiming things that, it's not happening how she's claiming it. I propose that we pause the A&E lawsuit in relation to the Where is Wendy doc. In relation to the documentary that Wendy Williams had on Netflix. In relationship to the doc that Wendy Williams had on Lifetime. And we get another test. Like, let's just, let's take this test. Let's get it out of here. Take the test. Does she have the frontal temporal dementia or not? Can she make her own decisions or not? If she doesn't have it, if she's deemed that she can make her own decisions, we'll step out of her way. Of course, Wendy will have assistance from the court, but she can appoint new attorneys, a new conservator, all of that stuff, right? So then Sabrina came out and she gave quotes to various outlets, and she said that Wendy Williams denied taking that test. Now, there was a quote in People from Wendy that said she knew nothing about what Sabrina was talking about. In more recent headlines, Joe Tacopina, who was the most recent attorney for A$AP Rocky and his gun trial, he's also worked with Michael Jackson. Like he's done some pretty notable, well-known cases, like and won them. So Joe Tacopina we've also had him on Breakfast Club too. It was a great interview. Go watch it. He's decided to come on to serve as Wendy Williams' personal attorney. Now, the goal in him coming on and serving as his personal attorney, of course, it's to get in on the guardianship. Like, he wants to be the attorney that is helping to make sure that this guardianship is not taking advantage of Wendy. But from the way that he breaks it down, it's levels to this. You can't just come in and, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain things that have to be approved by judges and things of that nature. So while all that is working out, he's agreed to be her personal attorney. Now, in him being her personal attorney, I think that this will definitely set because she's let go of, attorneys appointed by the court bought in it was like a black woman attorney that she was super excited about. We broke that story as well. And then we also broke the story that Wendy decided to step away from that attorney, even though that attorney has still been acting in Wendy's favor. But with Joe Tacopina coming in, it's like, it's about to up it. Like, you're not about to be able to play with Wendy at all. He did an interview with, I believe it was Newsweek. It wasn't in his TMZ interview. I believe it was in his Newsweek interview. It was an outlet where he said basically, like, you know, he's moving graciously. He's like, listen, as Wendy's personal attorney, I want to make sure that what outlet is that? What's the last interview he did? So there's one. News Nation? No, not that one. I believe it's News Nation. Look up Joe Tacopina News Nation or Newsweek. But basically he said, like, listen, I'm not even trying to like shake the room. We just want Wendy to be treated fairly. We want her to have, you know, better, easier stipulations and for her to have more say so. But in the midst of this, if that does not happen, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm willing to do, you know, kind of whatever I need to do, but it's big business over here. Y'all don't want to see me in that courtroom. He literally has said that in interviews. So I spoke to a source close because with all of this mounting up the way that it is, my first question was, what was the outlet? Oh, News Nation. Okay. With all of this stuck where it is, I'm like, okay, well, I want to know, did Wendy say no to that test? And if so, why? Like, why say no? And if she said no, what's the plan? What is going to happen next? Because she needs that test for multiple reasons. She needs that test because she needs to be able to prove that she can make her own decisions, as I mentioned. She needs to be, able to prove that she's cognitively aware and able to live somewhere that, you know, doesn't have certain stipulations and that, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. But also, too, she needs to take that test because it was News Nation. Okay, yeah, it was News Nation. Where Joe Tacopina confirmed that he was Wendy's lawyer and talked about how judges don't want to see him in court. Like, don't play with him at all. But she needs to take that test, just to kind of, at this point now, figure out even how she's going to control this A&E lawsuit for that Lifetime documentary that she's saying that she did not want. Because that is on stay. And on stay basically means it's on hold for 3 months until this test is taken. And then once the test is taken, a judge will determine who can make the decision of what happens next, whether it's Wendy or a conservator. So I spoke to a source who would know, source very close to the situation, that told me that Wendy is not against taking any testing. The thing here is that Wendy Williams wants to make sure that if she is going to be taking a test that's going to be determining whether she is, you know, cognitively impaired or not, whether she has the dementia that they are claiming that she has or not, she wants it to be fair. So she wants to get a third party, independent evaluation done. Something that I honestly think is really, really smart. And I'm going to tell y'all why. She also wants to make sure that whoever is doing the testing, when I say independent, is not appointed by the judge. Which I will say, literally until I spoke to this source, from everything that I understood, I didn't know that was even an option. And it is an option. Yes, the judge, the conservator, they can fight it, but so can Wendy's attorneys. They can come back and say, oh, no, here's why we need to do this, right? Because they just want to make sure there's no bias whatsoever. Now, it is very important, that this test is unbiased, undoctored, unpersuaded, and anything of that nature, because y'all know it's been a little sticky situation for Wendy. Wendy has got online. I'm sorry, not got online. Wendy has got on air talking to us at the Breakfast Club, talking to other outlets, and have said some things and telling what she alleges is her truth that have not made the judges in her conservatorship, her conservator, and just, different people happy at all. So I think the biggest thing here is making sure that she protects her ability to have fairness in all of this. So the reports that Wendy is not open to taking the test are not true. From everything I'm being told is that she's open to taking it. She actually has a court date coming up on May 10th. And on May 10th, they'll be having a conversation about, the attorneys and who will be where, but also that testing and wanting an independent, situation or independent testing that is not chosen or appointed by the conservator or the judge. Now, I am also told that if Joe Tacopina is denied the ability to work within Wendy's case, there will be legal lawsuits that will happen against the setup, against the judge. Just because, rightfully, the way that, this whole thing is set up is like, it should be in the best interest of the person who needs the guidance and the structure of the conservatorship. And Wendy does not feel like this is that. So from what I am told, lawsuits will fly if this does not happen. So look, we're going to stay locked and figure out what and how that will end up once the 10th comes. Now, in all of this, I started thinking like, okay, so if this cognitive test, this test was supposed to happen I would say 2 weeks ago, and it hasn't happened, right? A judge has decided we're going to hold off on this whole civil lawsuit over here against Lifetime because and for this test. What happens if this test just doesn't happen? Like, what happens if in 3 months, because even though these conversations are being had about whether Wendy's going to take this test or not, you still have 3 months to figure out and to submit testing and just different things in relation to that A&E lawsuit for Wendy. Because that's how long the judge ordered for everything to hold as far as that. And that's not cut short because, they're trying to figure out attorneys and blah, 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 blah. Like that 3 months, even if Wendy had took the test today and the test results hadn't come back for another 4 months, that 3 months is still there. And they would have waited for that 4th month to get those results to figure out what happens next. Not saying that is possible. That's a long time to wait. Sure, it's going to move faster than that. But I'm just saying, though, like that 3 months is there. It's up and it's stuck. So I started reaching out, and I actually spoke to Roberta Kaplan's office, who is the attorney working the A&E lawsuit on behalf of Wendy Williams and her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey. Now, she told me a few things, but I'm actually not going to discuss that here. I want to have a conversation about that in the room on The Breakfast Club. So make sure you guys tune in to The Breakfast Club, where we'll be discussing how everything I just exclusively told you guys first, you heard it here first, how that will affect this grand A&E Lifetime lawsuit that right now is centered as Wendy Williams and her conservator versus Lifetime. And Wendy is saying, I don't want this. So make sure y'all tune in to The Breakfast Club to hear that. All right, y'all, I got to pop in right here. Y'all was feeling that last segment, that last topic. If you're really feeling it, then I need you, because listen, baby, this club is shutting down. This is the end of our visual episode, but I still got more for y'all. I still have more because the exclusives don't stop this episode. I'm telling y'all exclusively what happened when I got on the phone with a reporter who got punched in her face by the woman who thinks that abortions should be legal because she doesn't believe the same. And I'm telling y'all what happened. Like, it's some real things happening, some real legal things, all the things, okay? So we're going to discuss it. But you got to go over to the audio version. Find me on the iHeart app, the Apple Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. You need to go there right now. Don't get left outside the club, because I want all of y'all to get on in. And search The Latest with Loren LoRosa so you can finish this episode. Only on audio, though. That's the audio exclusive for the girls and the guys. I'll see y'all on over there. I'm going now. I'll be back. I'll see y'all over there. See you on my next episode. But also, hear me.